Hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Victor, and on this channel, I focus on clarity over noise and results over slogans. If that sounds like something you value, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who prefers facts over slogans. It really helps this channel grow, and more importantly, it helps good conversations reach the right people. Now, let's talk about Venezuela. Not the shouting, not the politics, and not the slogans, but what's going on. Because there's one reaction to Venezuela that the media seldom explains, and once you see it, everything starts to make sense. Setting the facts, Venezuela didn't collapse overnight. It didn't collapse by accident. And it didn't collapse because of America. It collapsed after the government took control of businesses, fixed prices by force, rewarded loyalty over competence, and protected corruption. The result was predictable: empty shelves, worthless money, broken hospitals, and millions of ordinary people fleeing the country just to survive. These aren't talking points, they're observable facts. The reaction no one explains. So, here's the question most coverage avoids. Why do communist and hard left movements around the world react with rage whenever regime change in Venezuela is even mentioned? Not discussion, not debate, rage. Because to them, Venezuela isn't just a country, it's a symbol. Why Venezuela matters to ideology? For years, Venezuela has served as an excuse. If it stays broken, the claim is socialism didn't fail, it was sabotaged. That excuse only works if Venezuela never recovers. Because if Venezuela stabilizes, rebuilds, and functions without communism, one uncomfortable question appears. If socialism works, why did everything collapse? And why did recovery only begin once it was removed? That question threatens ideology itself. Why the conversation always shifts. This is why the conversation quickly changes. Instead of talking about corruption, repression, and mass immigration, the focus becomes imperialism, oil theft, corporate exploitation. Oil becomes the distraction. Talking about America is easier than talking about failure. It turns an ideological collapse into a moral accusation and avoids accountability. Why temporary control triggers panic. You may also notice the intense reaction to any talk of temporary international oversight or transition planning. Why? Because ideology depends on one unspoken rule: failed socialist regimes must never be held accountable. If even one collapsed communist system is allowed to reset and recover, others become vulnerable, politically and ideologically. And that's what creates panic. This isn't about Trump. People argue endlessly about Trump because it's emotional and familiar. But this issue is bigger than one man and bigger than one country. The real question is simple: can a failed system be allowed to fail visibly and be replaced? If the answer is yes, ideology loses its shield. The uncomfortable truth. Here's the truth many people avoid saying out loud. Communism doesn't fear criticism, it fears comparison. It doesn't fear debate, it fears results. Because when people are allowed to compare outcomes instead of slogans, ideology collapses under its own weight. Closing, this isn't about left versus right, it's about truth versus ideology. If you value calm, honest explanations without noise, you're in the right place. Thank you for watching. If this helped you think more clearly, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who values clarity too. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.